Hey, Prog Nation, how are you? This is Jim Marin coming to you from the Great Canadian Apes. Hope you're doing all right out there. It is like minus 30 here in Canada. It's nuts, frigid. Hope you're keeping warm. Hope you're keeping healthy. Today's price was down 3%. We're going to be going through a review of Progenity's corporate presentation from yesterday from the H.C. Wainwright BioConnect conference. We'll be giving you our price target for the week and what we think the Hedges is going to want to have it at. The Ortex and Fintal short squeeze data will be reviewed. And we have another press release from Progenity, and it seems like they're going on a European tour. Prague is looking very good long term, not financial advice. So, to start with, the H.C. Wainwright BioConnect Virtual Conference, their corporate focus was these 5 things. Number 1, developing drug delivery system and oral biotherapeutics with many different companies, many partners. 2 are experimenting and going through clinical studies or preclinical studies with adalimumab, which is Humira. We know it as Humira. But in July 2023, they're going to be open to all the biosimilars. And so Progenity is right there with the other developers and perhaps right with AbbVie to be able to have their drug delivery system in with the adalimumab product medicine. And so they have the patent on the drug delivery system, and then it's like going to the Bachelor or the Bachelorette, whatever. There's like a ton of guys for one girl, or a ton of girls for one guy, and Progenity is the one person, and so all kinds of suitors for Progenity as the Humira market opens next year. Number 2, bringing Preoccludia test to market with a partner. Number 3, single molecule detection system, and that's going to support things such as for cancer testing, etc. And number 4, recoverable sampling systems. We saw that in previous episodes of the Great Canadian Apes on Progenity. That is part of the patent, which is going to be coming out, slated to come out for January 18th. And then PillDX is part of that as well, to diagnose and send results to the smartphone from inside the body. So let's take a look at the corporate presentation, and I'll try and go through some of it for you. I'm going to piece this up into several different days to be able, because it's huge. So number 1, we're talking, the focus is on this drug delivery system, this OBDS, DDS system. That is what they're putting their main focus into, the developing innovative oral biotherapeutics for GI health and beyond. So the DDS has the tofacitinib and the adalimumab variant. Notice the word variant. Okay, so this could be one of the biosimilars that are coming up. Similarly, in the OBDS, oral biotherapeutics delivery system, we have adalimumab variant. Okay, so this is Humira. This is this huge market. I think it's one of the biggest in the world. And so we've got a couple suitors there that are working with Progenity. As well, we have the antisense therapy, 2 undisclosed drugs from a couple large pharmas. And they went over their therapeutics pipeline. And so notice that most of these are increases on the pathways from where they were earlier. Now, one of the big things that everybody's noting is that, oh, okay, well, it's not happening today or it's not happening tomorrow, right? But here we have DDS, clinical studies results in ulcerative colitis. Patients will be results by Q2 2022. So that's by April. That's 3 months from now. Phase 1 initiation, or well, April to June. Phase 1 initiation, second half of 2022. Continued development with the DDS for the adalimumab variant for the ulcerative colitis. And notice the dates here, which are basically either late 2022 or certainly not Q1 2022. So they push things out a few months for sure. But they're continuing along the pathway for all. Targeted therapeutics, IBD treatment challenges. 70%. This is the huge thing. 70% of patients with Crohn's disease, the medication's not working because they eventually have to require like surgical removal of part of their intestines. So, in 1 in 4 patients with moderate to severe UC achieve remission. Only 1 in 4 are successful under the current treatment. And there's 1.6 million people in the US have IBD, 70,000 new cases diagnosed each year in the US. And so the hopes, both from a scientific and from a health standpoint, to get people better and to provide better products, and from a business standpoint to be able to try and make some money at this, is the studies that are coming out that are going to be in Belgium and in Austria over the next month are going to be showing that there's with this drug delivery system, look at the better PK effect and coverage with targeted delivery. So one of the things to note, and in a future video I'll put a regular scale up, because they're not really selling themselves very well here. They put a logarithmic scale up. So it looks like, oh, okay, the green is their test. The red was the current medicine delivery. And so the current medicine delivery has colon tissue coverage through the tofetclidum, nanograms per gram, maybe about 50, 80 to 100. Okay, but notice this scale. It's logarithmic. It goes from 10 to 100 to 1,000 to 10,000 to 100,000. So these bars might look like they're maybe 3 times more. They're not. They're 25 times more. They're many, many times more. This bar up here is somewhere around like 20,000 mark. This down here is at 10,000, at like 100. And so if you were to see like a linear scale, 1 for 1, the reds would be to here. The greens would be through the roof. And so there, and this is the results that they're seeing in their patients from their testing. So the standard oral dose versus PGN 600. Now this says in the canine model, but the ones that are going to be going through in Belgium is going to be like the real ones. They saw reduced drug levels in blood versus standard oral dose. So it is much safer. The tissue drug levels were at least 25 times higher along the length of the colon versus the standard oral dose. So the efficacy, the ability for the medicine to work better is better within this capsule. One of the things that the DDS can do is that it can accurately target the colon. So before it was getting all caught up in the upper GI tract to make sure that it's not in the upper GI tract. And then here it all goes to the colon where it's supposed to be able to help it out. So there's successful delivery to the colon via DDS, no early release of the drug, and no drug absorption in the upper GI tract. So it's going exactly where it should be. Okay. When we get into the biotherapeutics, to be able to get into the many different medicines that currently people have to inject themselves, there's a 71% discontinuation rate versus those starting oral therapy. 42% of people fail to maintain treatment due to injection concerns. Approximately 20% of adults are affected by the fear of needles. And so this drug delivery system through pill form can be life-changing and money-changing for the patients. Here's the oral biotherapeutics delivery system. We put up how this works a few weeks ago. I'll put it up again sometime soon. Precision delivery, excellent systematic uptake for orally delivered large molecules with OBDS. And so these are these medicines that have large molecules in them. And so currently they have to be injected. But with the drug delivery system, it can be encapsulated, and then the capsule goes to the affected area and then opens up exactly on there. So now there are additional assets. For patients with preeclampsia, the Preoccludia test for patients with symptoms of possible preeclampsia. The Preoccludia test is potentially the first blood test to assess risk by evaluating multiple pathopsychological pathways. Development plans. They've submitted the Pro 104 validation study manuscript to peer-reviewed journal article. The data is there. It's ready to go, but it's not publicized yet. And so once they publicize that, then they'll be able to move forward on it. And they've engaged an advisory firm to manage the process of licensing to potential commercial partners. And so that's huge, and that's going to be in the works for the first half of 2022. And it's been ongoing for some time, but it's getting closer and closer to the marketplace. Single molecule detection was the patent that was released, I believe, December 10th. It's novel single molecule counting assay, initially for NIPT, potentially applicable to known genometric, epidemic, or proteomic targets, engaged in advisory firm to manage out licensing to potential partners, maximizing the value of the asset. The recoverable sampling system and the pill DX is associated with the patent due out for approval. They've already got the approval for it, actually. I'll show you that tomorrow or sometime this week. And it would take too long to get through everything. So this is the ingestible capsule designed to autonomously identify locations in the GI tract, collect and preserve a sample for recovery and for analysis. And so a pill actually goes in, but instead of having like a colonoscopy and that sort of thing, as the pill goes through, it scoops out a bit of the tissue, and then it comes out, and then they get the tissue and analyze it. So this is a future key to therapeutic development. It's less evasive. The pill DX is that ingestible capsule designed to sample, measure, and transmit results via smartphone, then to the doctor's computer, and then the doctor can kind of see that you had that extra piece of chocolate cake and you shouldn't have. And anyway, I'd be in trouble. Anyway, so first target indication is they're going to be investigating the small intestine bacterial overgrowth. Okay, this is the same slide that they had up earlier, just in summary. The DDS, we're looking Q4, top line clinical PK, PD for the Humira biosimilar via enema in ulcerative colitis for publication, and that has the check mark. There's going to be a device function study for ulcerative colitis patients. And again, when we're talking about Crohn's colitis, the Progenity has been officially one of the companies that received grant money from the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation to be able to continue their research. And so Crohn's and Colitis Foundation have a vested interest in the success of Progenity. In H2, the PGN 600 phase 1 initiation is going through OBDS, preclinical, and they're going to be initiating clinical studies with OBDS. And these additional assets are going to be ongoing and going to be making money for them as soon as they get the partner together. Which I believe is, I mean, if you're selling tests to doctors, etc., for the patients, you need that system in place currently. And there's all kinds of biopharma companies that currently have their sales reps in place and in contact with all the doctors throughout North America, throughout the world. And they can that can be a key product addition to a product line for those companies. And of course, the Progenity doesn't have to recreate a wheel or a sales force to be able to sell the Preoccludia test to the doctors. And so they're going to be firming up a partner to be able to for the sale of Preoccludia, which is already something that's been patented, tested, approved, and ready to go. Alrighty, so that is the overview of yesterday's presentation. Now they've gotta up their game as far as their presentation, because this is, I'm sorry, man. I'm in with Progenity, with my money, with my heart. It's gonna help a lot of people. I hope we can get some money out of this for sure, guaranteed. I hope, not financial advice, but come on, this is Addy, who's obviously using Eric Disparby's computer. And so he's the presenter. You can barely see him. Holy, I know you're the CEO. You must be worth millions, and I'm sure you do a great job and that sort of thing. But you got to take a little bit of PR skills somewhere. Number one, have your name on here, not Eric's. Have your name, Abdi. You got to put your name on there. And I had to look at this like 3 times. It's like, is this Eric or is this Addy? You know, you just need to present your material a little bit more interesting. I mean, I know I don't do the best job in the world, but holy smokes, is like, you're in the back corner there, and you gotta, when you're presenting data, you got to be a little bit more involved than having somebody else's name on your face. Okay, sorry, but please up your game with that. Today, Progenity released details of an oral presentation on the treatment of GI disorders at the 34th Belgian Week of Gastroenterology, and that's going to occur on. So Progenity, a biotech company innovating in the field of oral biotherapeutics for GI health and beyond, today announced that patient data, not pigs, not dogs, patient data on indicators of efficacy, how well a drug can work using their product in the treatment of GI disorders, has been accepted for the oral presentation during the 34th edition of Belgian Week of Gastroenterology, February 9th to 11th. So they're going to be hitting Belgium February 9th to 11th before they go to Austria for that ECCO conference. So they're doing a European tour here, which is pretty awesome. I'm going to go into this a little bit further tomorrow, or later in the week, to be able to explain what they're doing there, because it's pretty cool. In the German market, PROG was up 0.6%. Previous close was 1.66 euros. Closed today at 1.67, or $1.90 US. Yeah, so they're going to be in Belgium on February 9th and touring. They're like a rock band now. Vienna, Austria, February 16th with their clinical findings. Sweet. PROG was down 3% for today. Previous close was $1.91. They closed today at 185. Now the SPY, NASDAQ, and the Russell were all up. Now what could be happening with the stock is that if people didn't realize that this was a long-term investment, after yesterday, it was like, okay, now it will likely take many months, perhaps the whole year of 2020 to be able to realize this. But we're looking at a stock that's trading under $2 right now. That is, these different pots that they have, each of them are multi-billion dollars a year markets. Of course, they're not going to have the entire market of all of these, but they're dealing with multi-billion dollar markets per year. Today's level of support was at $1.84 and $1.89. Levels of resistance was happening at the 198 and the 194. 194 here, 197 was at the high of the day. 194 was reached here was some resistance. Here was resistance. And if I stretch it back over here, then resistance was back over here at the 194. The level of support, we saw levels of support at 184, and we saw that last week as well at the 184, bouncing off that a couple times. We also have support at $1.79 if the 184 breaks through. And on the way up, we've had levels of resistance at $2, $2.13, and $2.25. Options expiring January 14th. The Hedges are still going to price target that $2. Here I've extended my graph so that you can see the day-to-day actual numbers of contracts. This is as of 2 o'clock this afternoon. There's only 1% in the money calls, 99% out of the money calls. 18% out of the money puts, 82% in the money puts. The Hedges will have a lot to gain again if the closing price this week is less than $2, with almost 1 million calls. That's shares, and almost 120,000 puts and shares at $2. $2 has been their price target for the past 3 weeks. We believe the price target for this week, it could go as low as $1.50. $1.50, $2, but we do believe with the announcement of the new patent that should be released on January 18th, and I'll show you that sometime later this week as well. It's right in there with the U.S. Department of Patents, and it's all ready to go. I believe it's going to go up after that, so that's next week. When we get into the Ortex data for the shorts, the short interest change is stating that it went down by almost 2% with 1 million borrowed shares and 1.46 million returned. Utilization is at 92%. Cost of borrow is at 20%. Days to cover is at 0.34. So the company, the shorts can basically move it at will. Shares on loan, 23.5 million. That's down 10% from last week. The percent of free float on loan is 22.43. Again, down 10% from last week. The estimated short interest percent on float is in around 12 million. And so notice again, huge discrepancy between the shares on loan of 23 million and the estimated short interest of 12.75. So you're looking at 10, almost 11 million shares that have been shorted, that have been borrowed, but not shorted. And so one person on Reddit, I'm sorry I don't have his name here right now, had, and I'm going to be going through one of the doctors as well in a future video, because that doctor that's presenting in Vienna, it was like the president of the whole association in the world for this ECCO conference. So I'm going to have more detail for that tomorrow. Okay, next, let's take a look at the FinTel data. And again, we're seeing like over 50%, 51% dark pool short volume. Why? This is a less than $2 biopharma. You really need to put over half of it through the dark pool. Something's up with this. 15.4 million shares shorted. 1.9 days to cover, so it could become harder for the shorties to manipulate the price. So that would be good for us. Short percent interest percent of float, just under 15%. And the dark pool short volume today was 3.2 million. There's all kinds available for shorting, 2.2 million at 15.5%. That means this is nowhere near a short squeeze play right now. That's just the reality of it. Gotta tell it like it is. Okay, and here's the first company that's actually saying that they're shorting it. Funny enough, when you go into this, they've actually bought more calls than puts, and but their puts came over onto this side. Maybe nobody told these poor guys that, oh yeah, we don't tell anybody anything more, because the Jane Streets and the Cybes and the Citadels, the last time that they put anything up was like November 16th, right? Because this is funds disclosing short positions, and so yeah, so nobody else other than that poor company is disclosing anything. So for highlights for today, the price was down 3%, and I do believe that's because some people are thinking, oh my gosh, I thought this was going to be a 2-week play or a 1-month play. It's not. This is a huge company, but it's not going to happen overnight. This can be a long this is not a short-term trade. This is a medium to long-term trade, but I believe it's a very, very good one. Progenity's corporate presentation from the H.C. Wainwright BioConnect conference. Solid catalysts are coming in with the drug delivery system, the oral Biotherapeutics. They're working with many different companies, many different partners. The biosimilars from Humira, a multi-billion-dollar industry, is going to be open in July 2023. And it's like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. They're the only one. Progenity's the only one. Everybody else has to come to them. And they're the only one with the patent on that drug delivery system. Number two, they're going to be bringing the Preoccludia test to market with a partner. They're solidifying a partner to be able to bring that to market. And then they have the single molecule detection leg of their products that they're furthering developing. And then number 4 and 5 are going to be dealing with the patent that's going to be coming out likely on January 18th. Our price target for the week, it could go down as much as $1.50. As long as if you have conviction in this play for all the different catalysts that could be coming up, the multi-billion dollars that could be coming up, you know what? This could go down a lot. Could go down a lot, but if you don't sell, you don't lose. So don't put in more that you can afford to lose, but they've got a lot of things in the fire right now. It only takes one to turn this company into a multi-billion-dollar market cap company. Right now, at $1.85, this company's teetering on being less than a $300 million valuation. This valuation is going to go into the billions as soon as any one of these is going to ignite. We've had another press release. Progenity is going on a European tour, going to Belgium the week before Austria. And PROG is looking very good long term. Not financial advice. Great to see you guys, and have a great night. Thank you.